Welcome back to Bellwether. No, it's been a while. It's been a while. We're gonna try to. We say this all the time, but we're gonna try to get back on track.
We really
Come back
need
to
to.
see y'all a lot more.
We need to.
Yes, we really do. We talked about it before the show. We really didn't have an excuse of why we took the hiatus we did, but we're back now, and we're going to keep going.
Yeah.
Some craziness has happened since we last spoke.
A lot. Yeah.
With all the government shutdowns and all this stuff, and there's a lot of things that are kind of driving me crazy about this whole government shutdown. Is my question is to you, Widener, is how do you justify yourself as essential? Any person that is working to pay their bills, their house, their cars, whatever, and provide for their families or whatever, each one of them people to me is essential. May not be essential to the overall plan, but it's essential to your home. It's essential to your life. I mean, what's your take on that?
No, I agree. So I don't know. I think they're going off like the government definition, if that's where it's coming from. I think it's ridiculous because one of my bad things is I like to eat fast food, right? So they're essential to me because they feed people and,
right,
like stuff like that. But you have, I don't know, like waitresses. So they're essential because they serve people, but they're shutting down restaurants. Bartenders are essential because you want to go to your local watering hole and have a cold beer after work, but they're shutting down bars, right? I don't know. So I don't know how they came up with this thought process behind it, but I think it's all ridiculous. I don't agree with it, but I'm not the one making those calls. I don't know. I was fortunate enough, just like you, very fortunate enough to still have a job throughout this whole thing.
Yes.
And still get paid and stuff. And I know a lot of people that weren't that fortunate, that are not that fortunate, that are still out of work. And just today here in Denver, we had the restaurants open back up, 50% capacity and, whatever. But the guidelines that they have are so ridiculous that some restaurants are just, they're refusing to even open up. It doesn't work for them. It doesn't work spacing your table 6 feet apart. What about the little taquerias that you get the best burritos you ever had in your life for that have 4 tables and, capacity of 35? They can't do that stuff. So I think it's wrong too, because it's demoralizing to people that are considered not essential.
Right.
I think.
How do you sit there and, like, say you come home and you're like, well, I'm stuck at home until the government says I can go back to work because I'm non-essential. How would that make you?
Oh, that's got to mentally just like mental. It's a mind fuck. And I hate to cuss on this channel, but that's what it is. It is
exactly.
Exactly.
That's exactly what it is.
You got people sitting there saying, "I'm not even good enough to go to work." That wants to work. And then
and that's the thing is that if they're willing to work, why not let them work? I don't know, but I mean,
and then the other thing is, okay, you got all these mom and pop shops shutting down, but Walmart's okay. Like, I look at the bigger picture. I'm not going to get into my way of thinking on certain things, but I look at a different picture than I think a lot of people do. So, but
look how many of these little shops had to shut that will not come back because they don't have the money to start back up.
Exactly. There's numerous numerous little tackle stores, little bait stores, restaurants here that been in the family for generations that are shutting their doors.
Mhm.
Like, and this is financially destroying people.
Yeah, it
Financially
is.
destroying
And
people.
I mean, I have my own ideas on why it is this way, but I mean, I understand that it was a global pandemic. It was a global thing. The
But
COVID-19
what?
was around the world.
But was
But,
it?
huh?
I said,
Yeah, I
but
mean,
was
it
it?
started in China, man.
Well,
Yeah. But what I'm saying is,
yeah, let's
if
not
it's
get
a
into that.
global pandemic, I get it. But I mean, I feel like I could go on a whole tangent here, and I feel like I better
Yeah,
not.
we probably shouldn't
Not
do
on
that.
this one,
Yeah.
maybe on the Legends with Bourbon one, or Legends of Bourbon one, or maybe a Talk with GB talk, but
Yeah.
not on Bellwether. No, that's not what we're here for.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's very sad. It's heartbreaking for a lot of people and businesses, and I think it's ridiculous. So, to answer your question,
I,
how they define it, I don't know, but I think it's demoralizing to people to say that these people are essential and these people aren't. I get EMTs, I get firefighters, I get police officers, I get that, I get doctors, but
mhm.
To tell a restaurant they're not essential, to tell a bar, like, yeah. So, anyways, that's my answer.
Well, we talked a little bit. Uh, we talked a little. I mean, we kept in pretty good contact through this
This
whole
whole time.
ordeal. And there were some days where we were just going crazy with all of it, and there's some days that we were just, it's kind of mundane going through things. Uh, one of the things that we talked about before is this stay-at-home thing is forcing families to stay at home together. And I don't get me wrong. I think family time is one of the one things that you only get one shot at. You gotta spend your time with your family.
Yeah.
But I also believe that you gotta have this healthy time away where you enjoy each other more. Whether it be going to work for the day, or somebody might get off work and want to go have a drink, this, that, and the other. I mean, there's certain things that, I think that helps families stay together is the time apart spent. That way, when they do spend that time together, it's priceless. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I feel that too much of something is almost as bad as not having it at all.
Well, so with that being said, like we said earlier, is on the phone, is I'm fortunate enough to have my family with me. A lot of people aren't. We haven't missed a beat. Me and the wife, I mean, yeah, we've been a little more, how do you want to say it? A little more snippy at certain times, but we haven't missed a beat. My wife said something to the effect of, she kind of likes this. Well, I'm going back to work start next week, which is good. But yeah, it's just, I mean, another thing with that, forcing people to stay home, is this is the most that some people ever spent with their kids in their life.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And for that to feel forced kind of is different for me too. But I'm thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm ready to go back to work. I'll tell you that. I'm ready.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I lucked out. My daughters got here today. I'm so excited. I get to spend our summertime together. We enjoy our time together. We usually, find stuff to do. We go out of town. We go do, every other year we'll go on a vacation out of state. Last year we went to New Orleans, so this year we're probably going to stay in Texas. But there's just having my kids here with me, which they live 300 miles away. Having my kids here with me means everything to me. It kind of gives you that want to get up and go to work, and that, like you see the reason why you're working when your kids are here.
100%.
And like when the kids aren't here, there's days you're just like not feeling it today or whatever, you know what I mean? But when you see them kids there, it kind of gives you that motivation to keep moving. So I'm really excited to have my kids here right now. So
no, it's great. I'm happy for you, like I said earlier. But with that being said, let me throw a quick thing in there. Is to anyone that's going to watch this that works and the mother stays home with the children, you owe that woman a lot more respect than you've probably been giving her. That has got to be the hardest damn thing that I've ever encountered in my life. Like, I don't know how my wife does it. And I am very fortunate to have her, but sometimes I get drove up the damn wall. That's okay to say, right? Yeah, it's okay to say. But my wife does it every day. So, mothers, good on you. You are appreciated. Well, some dads stay home too. You're appreciated too.
Tip of the hat to you, mothers and wives out there having to put up with your husbands and kids through all this quarantine. I guarantee you, it's easier for the men than it was the women.
100%.
So, speaking of all of this that's going on, this last weekend, Memorial Day,
Monday,
me and Widener had talked about coming on here and talking a little bit about Memorial Day. I think a lot of people lose sight of what Memorial Day is. Before we get started on our little rant on this, I want to read to you exactly what Wikipedia says about Memorial Day. It says Memorial Day, previously but now seldom called Decoration Day, is a federal holiday in the United States for honoring and mourning the military personnel who had died while serving the United States Armed Forces. The holiday is now observed on the last Monday of May, having been observed on May 30th from 1868 to 1970. Many people visit cemeteries and memorials on Memorial Day to honor and mourn those who died while serving the U.S. military. Many volunteers place an American flag on graves of military personnel in national cemeteries. Memorial Day, is, when we look at this stuff and what I just read to you, they're talking about how we have volunteers going out and putting flags on graves of people they don't even know. You think about that widowed wife that goes out to the cemetery to see, her deceased husband, or, brothers and sisters in arms going out to see that person, buried in that cemetery. All, when you think about that and you have all these people, that are happy Memorial Day or man, it's, the first weekend of summer, we can go to the lake now. I don't feel that way when it comes to Memorial Day. I don't get that excited for Memorial Day for that. I mean, I noticed, I know on Facebook, you see a lot of people, and the thing is with Facebook, I don't know how much people put on there just for attention more than they do their actual beliefs or their feelings about things, And I mean, I went down to my dear lease Friday and we came back Saturday, and I didn't hardly do anything else for the rest of the weekend. Like, I didn't even want to leave the house.
Well, so with that though, it's different for everybody. I had the quick realization too that it's okay for people to not think of it the same way, especially the people that didn't serve. And I think where the Happy Memorial Day comes in, Wadzik, is the people, they know it's a day that's associated with the military and veterans. And the first thing is,
Right.
we got to recognize veterans. We got to recognize veterans, right? So me and you know, and all the Cougars that we served with and everyone else that served, that's not what it's about. It's a quite somber day for me. It's not fun. It never has been fun since I joined the military and got out. But people just, I don't think they look into the meaning, if that makes sense. Right? They just kind of ride the wave of what everyone else thinks.
Yeah, and it's easy to go with the flow on things, you know. I mean, and I understand a lot of people, they like to hang out, you know, barbecues, stuff like that. I will say that I can't remember who posted it. I want to say it was my boss or somebody. They have this big get together every Memorial Day or whatever. Well, one night, I don't know if it was before they were eating or whatever, but they stopped everything they were doing and played taps, and you know, everybody was quiet. Everybody was involved in them playing taps. I mean, there wasn't nobody running around, you know, nobody, you know, just sitting over in the corner jamming music. I mean, it was like they stopped the whole shindig to play taps. And to me, that was pretty cool. You know, like, how many people are going to stop your barbecue on Memorial Day when you're, you know, especially when you've been drinking and having a good time? Who's going to stop it and be like, hey, time out, let's remember why we're here for a minute, you know?
Well, yeah, that's the people that make it understood at those, you know, make it understood about the holiday itself. But yeah, you're right. It drives me up the wall. But then again, this is everyone's own prerogative. It's their own way. Is to hear people can't wait to go camping. You know, like, okay, that's cool. You know what my wife said? What my house was on Monday? My wife said, "What do you need from me today? How can I help you?" And she left me alone the whole day. That was my Memorial Day because she understands. Our house understands, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, you know, I mean, but your wife witnesses some things that we all go through, you know, through times. I mean, she, you know, we've talked about, you know, the whole Texas country and the whiskey nights, you know. I mean,
Yep.
it's when you're in solitude, you know, when you have your time to think, and your wife understands that. A lot of people won't understand that, you know.
No.
You know, I'm probably one of the worst communicators in the world when it comes to texting or calling people back or whatever. I'm horrible at it. I mean, you know, could be one of the reasons why I'm still single, because I don't think about, you know, calling or texting anybody back. And I mean, and it's hard to have a relationship with somebody to explain to them, like, look, I need my time by myself. I need my time to think about this. I need to think about, you know, certain things. I need to clear my head of these things or whatever, you know. And it's hard to explain that to people without them thinking that you're some kind of lunatic, or you know, you got something else going on, that you can't just be around them or whatever, you know. I've said it before, and I say it a million times from now to the day I die. You got a saint for a wife, because there's not a lot of women out there that will understand that.
No, yeah, I know. Yeah, she put I mean, it's a lot of trial and error, right, on her end.
Mhm.
She had to get to know me. We married when we were older. I married her when I was 32. She was 34, right? We had our failed relationships. We had our failed life stuff at that point. And getting to know someone at that age, you go through a lot of trial and error getting to know that person. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get it.
So yeah, no, I appreciate that. I appreciate the compliment, but yes, I do have a very fortunate for my wife. And as we were talking about this, I had another thought is, and those people, like I'm all for the people having their barbecues and going to the lake and camping. That's great. That could be another way for some people to like avoid that in a hole, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
Just avoid the feelings, mask the feelings. Look, I'm having a great time. This day never happened. So, you never know what
Yeah.
someone's thinking and, how they're going through that.
Right.
It's all about how people process things.
Yeah, it is. I'm excited about what we got going on with Bellwether coming up. I know we've talked about some things that we'd like to do this year, and we're gonna do them.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that with everything that happened, we both got a little overwhelmed with everything that was going on around us, plus our own personal lives taking the directions that they did. I feel that we neglected the podcast, but we're coming back. We're we're gonna hold each other accountable, and we're gonna keep doing it.
Yeah, we did. We kind of that's the perfect word for it, was it? And for everyone that's going to watch it and stay tuned, is it was neglected. It was, and I'm going to tell you my thoughts on it a little bit too. Is the way that we started this, we've had some very, very good episodes. What I find hard a lot of the time for me is that it's always about sad stuff that nobody wants to talk about, right?
Right.
So a lot of people probably don't want to, in my mind, and I could be completely wrong. Like, it's hard to talk about stuff, but that's the way I look at it. So it's hard to keep going on that same track without, mixing it up a little bit to,
right.
You know what I mean? So that's I've been thinking about that a lot too. But I know there's a lot of people that appreciate it for what it is also.
Yeah, a lot of people appreciate it because we bring up things that they may be thinking, but they couldn't bring out in themselves. They couldn't say it themselves, and somebody brought it out to light and is talking about it on a public forum. I think that might help some people. But it's like you said, with all the gloom and doom and the things that we talk about on here, some people may not want to hear all that all the time, from us. We have some great subjects that we want to hit on. We have some great guests that we would like to get on the show and pick their brain a little more. Some of the people we've talked to in the past, there's some of them we want to bring back to really pick their brain more and stuff like that. I think our mind, we just got to sit down and get a plan for it all. We need to get the people we need on here. We need to do those things and get it all taken care of. And that way we don't neglect it again. I mean, we were doing really good with our, getting our views out there, getting our likes and shares going. And then we just stopped, and I mean, so I think that's one of the things that we really need to, take a look at ourselves and, hold each other accountable for.
And it's no one's fault but ours.
Yeah.
Because we had a really good thing going. We still do. We just got to get back on the
Yeah.
You know,
Just got to get it back going.
You know, some of the ideas that I told you, yeah, we'll get it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I want to say to those that are watching, I thank you very much for, sticking with us and coming back with us. And we do have another podcast that we do, the Legend of Bourbon. It's a little more laid back and a little more free spirited.
It's like old Army stories for the most part.
Yeah, it's old Army stories and just fun stuff. We're going to be bringing some people on that, and I can't wait. But I mean, guys, it's good to be back. It's and that's another thing too. Like with my talk with GB, I felt like it's hard to motivate people when you're stuck in the house. It's hard to try to be that motivation for people when people are losing their jobs and losing their it was hard for me. So I neglected that one too. I mean, that's another one that I need to get. But
I think as a whole, I could safely say that a lot of people throughout this whole thing has neglected a lot of things.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think as a whole, that's safe to say. It's just, the thing has done weird stuff. So I got a question for you because you can answer to this. Remember when oil dropped down to negative $37 a barrel?
Oh yeah.
I just want to hear. It's not funny, but I just want to hear like what your thought process was when that happened. What was your like?
Okay, well, we had talked numerous times that day, and that morning when you called me, you were like, "Hey, how's everything going?" I was like, "God dang, man, what was that? $11 a barrel?" It's great, I mean, just and man, as the day progressed, it just kept dropping and kept dropping and kept dropping. I mean, to numbers that we haven't even seen before.
You can't even imagine it.
And no, you just can't. And I remember I had a delivery in Pecos that day. And when I made that delivery, I called you and you answered and you were like, "What's up, buddy?" I said, "I tell you what, I want my $11 back." And you were like, "What are you talking about?" You're like, "What are you talking about?" We're at negative $37 or whatever it was. And you were like, "You gotta be kidding." Dude, my dad has been in the oil field for the last 40 something years. And I remember calling my dad and was like, "Dad, what do you think about these oil prices?" And he was like, "Well, they're pretty bad." And I said, "Well, shit, Dad, they're negative $37." He was like, "Now, how in the hell can it be negative?" You know what, Dad? You got me, bud. You got me. I mean, it was so. We laugh about it. We because we have to. If we don't, we're gonna cry. Because that's the way a lot of people where I live. That's how they make their living. That's their livelihood.
That's what I was getting into.
And
is with that being said, it's like I'm sure Midland, Odessa, they got hit pretty hard by all this, and people are.
You drive by any bank. You drive by any bank right now. They got vehicles. They have RVs. They have boats. They have everything sitting out there. I mean, I guarantee you. I mean, like I'm in the market right now for a new truck, and I guarantee you, I could probably go to any bank and pick up a note from somebody. I mean, it just, that's just the way it is. And I mean, as a matter of fact, when I went to go look at that truck this weekend, one of the questions they asked me, well, during all this, did you get laid off? Or are you, worried about getting laid off or whatever? Just a bunch of crap, And man, I'm telling you, it wakes you up to realize that how much your life depends on how much that barrel of oil is going for. And it's crazy. It's crazy when you think about it. I mean, like my neighbor has twin daughters that are maybe two, like 1.5, 2 years old. Because when I go out and water my grass, they stand at the window and wave at me. They're like my little friends. They always let me know that they're watching me, or whatever. But I was talking to my neighbor, and he, I asked him, I was like, man, how have you been affected with all this? And he told me, he's like, look, he said, I'm getting paid to sit at home because my boss got that loan, but we have no work. We have no work to do. Yeah. But I'm still getting paid to sit at home, but he goes, I'd rather be at work. He was like, because, the thing is about this loan that the government gave out to these small businesses and stuff, it's a great loan. It's a great way to help these guys out, these companies out. See, with my job and a lot of jobs, and I don't, I'm not trying to step on any toes. I'm not speaking for everyone as a whole, but a lot of our jobs, a lot of things are done on credit. You order something, we deliver it, we give you a delivery ticket, we give you an invoice. From the date of the invoice, you have like 30 to 60 days to pay your, depending on what customer you are, you got 30 to 60, no longer than 90 to pay your bill, right? And okay, so April and May, or, April was bad. May, we're starting to pick up a little bit. We're not where we used to be at all, but we're picking up a little bit. So April and May was real rough for us. Like there were some days that we didn't sell anything. Just to be honest with you, there's some days that we took zeros for the days, I know there was about a week that went by that we were wishing the phone would ring, there would be times that we'd just call the phone just to make sure the phones were working type thing. So if you build your business on, this is just me talking. I'm not saying it's everyone, whatever. Don't shoot me or don't yell at me for this, but okay. So you're operating within that time frame on money that you sold 30 to 60 days ago, right? You get this loan, it helps pay you got to use so much of it to pay your salaries and whatever. I don't know exactly, but you have to do that. But okay, so you do that. You have this money that you were operating on from 30 to 60 days ago. Okay. Well, at the end of June is when that loan, cuts out. They're no longer going to pay your salaries. Okay. So April and May were real rough on us, right?
Yeah.
So when June comes around and we're sitting here, now we're on what we operated or, what we sold. Okay. Well, we didn't really sell a whole lot in April and May. So, 30 to 60 days ago, we didn't sell much. So here you are taking this away. In June, we're on our own. And that's the thing that scares me, is because when we come back in June, April and May wasn't real fruitful for us. So if we come back in June and we don't have, the money to pay everybody and, stuff like that, that's what scares me.
Well, the reason I asked that question is because, so when it was negative 37 a barrel, and I don't know how that loan stuff works either. I bet you had the pucker the pucker reaction. Imagine, like you almost felt like what it is for these people that don't have jobs right now.
Well, there's a bunch of them here right now. There's a bunch of people right now that are within rock throwing distance of me that do not have jobs right now. That are, I see a lot of mobile washes popping up, which we've always had a few. I see a lot of them popping up right now. I see a lot more lawn services popping up on Facebook. Wanting to come mow your lawn, whatever. A lot of people are doing what they got to do to try to make it through this rough time, because when it comes back, and which it will, because it always does. It always does this. It'll always go down. It'll always come back. It'll always go down, come back. When it comes back, a lot of these people that have no jobs will come back,
So you say that, but here's the thing. You say that, but like you said, people are at banks right now overloading their ass in debt because they have no choice. There's no coming back from debt. You get a card that has a $25,000 spending limit on it. Your APR is somewhere up in the 30%. You can't even make a $900 payment without putting a dent in the principal. That's what I mean when it's finally like this is going to literally financially cripple people, right? And I get it. Things going to come back, but
I had a buddy of mine I talked to this morning. When all this went on, his company had to let go like 23 people. Well, then they ended up getting the loan. Well, they brought back the ones that weren't on unemployment yet. They brought them back just to kind of help them through this time. But in June, they're probably going to have to let them go again. That's what he was telling me. He was like, we got them back for now, and we're paying their salary, but can't promise that they're still going to be here when June hits because we haven't done any work. Yeah. So, I mean, it affects everybody. And the thing is, oil is a commodity. It's just like your, silver and gold and, whatever. It's a commodity. It's a supply and demand type thing. Not only were Russia and Saudi Arabia just flooding the markets, then you have this COVID-19, the stay-at-home orders where you're not doing anything to use any oil. I mean, planes pretty much shut down. You don't have any cruise lines going. You don't, I mean, that's just the deal. It was the perfect storm for West Texas.
Well,
I mean, it was just horrible.
Yeah. I mean, I think the Permian Basin's probably been hit the worst that I can think of. I know there's North Dakota and all that good stuff.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I mean, Eastern New Mexico is who I call on. And New Mexico, they're still under quarantine. They can't even. I mean, they're still stay at home.
Yeah.
I mean, the ones that are doing work in Texas, the ones that have some work in Texas, they're doing a little bit, but not like one of my biggest customers is in Hobbs, and he hasn't been able to order from me since before all this happened. And he told me, he was like, I'd love to buy stuff from you, but I can't. I just cannot do it right now.
Yeah. No, it's a weird time, man. It's a very, very weird time. And if you're listening, I hope you don't go to the damn banks and try to get all these unnecessary loans for yourself, because you will never get on top of those. That's what it's designed for. I'm so against it. Like, that's just my way of thinking. I'm just so against it. I'm so against it.
Fucking Dave Ramsey over here.
Hey, but well, I did take his course twice. But Financial Peace University, like, you can't go wrong with that. But this is also hopefully.
Well, my question is.
Well, hold on. On a positive note, or hopefully a positive note, hopefully this has change people's perspectives on money, budgeting, and stuff like that. Like, you know what I mean? They woke up and the next day they didn't have a job. Hopefully that can kind of motivate some people to get their financials in order. But I'll get away from that. What was your next question?
Well, I got one thing to add to that. Think about your older generations, the ones that made it through the Great Depression.
Mm-hmm.
Those people always have money. I mean, it may not be a lot, but they always have money stashed away in the weirdest places. I mean, like, think about your grandparents. Oh, you need this? They're over there rattling coffee cans. Oh, well, here's $10 or whatever. They always have money put up somewhere, somehow. Money, like that generation of people remember what the Great Depression was like, and they will never get in that situation again, is the way they're looking at it. Maybe this will open up the eyes of a lot of people that are spending a lot of unnecessary money on unnecessary things to maybe put some money back in case this shit ever happens again.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just different generations also. Our older generation, you can call them the boomers, whatever you want, but they also knew, so they had a working target. They knew that they could retire, if that makes sense. Whereas of now, it's almost uncertain for a lot of people. They knew hard work would eventually pay off, and all these companies offered great pensions and all that. It's just a different world. But they did live through the Great Depression, and they saw how bad it could get, and that kicked them in the ass to make their financials a little more lucrative and, available to them. So, yeah, I mean, hopefully this changes a lot of people's way of thinking, and, we can only hope.
Yeah.
So.
Well, man, you got anything else for these fine folks that are watching us?
No, just that everyone keep their head on and keep pushing forward, and
keep pushing forward.
We're kind of back to a normal, livelihood of things here shortly, because this is not the new normal, and I hate when I hear that. And this is just me again, just me stating how I feel. This is not the new normal. We'll get back to normal, and just keep your heads up, drive on. That's all you can do in this. And if you did lose your job and you're having a hard time, I'm sorry, and it's unfortunate, and I hate to hear that, and I hate to even think about that. But we're going to do better with the podcast also. Gary said it best, is it's been neglected, and that's been on both our parts. It wasn't just one person, it's both of us. I'd like to get back in the full swing of things and go from there.
Well, be sure to like and share, and everybody, thank you all for watching, and we will come back to y'all soon.
Yep. Very soon.
And
Very soon.
looking forward to seeing y'all. And we're gonna get back, like it says, we're gonna get back on track here.
Yep. All right. Everyone keep your head up.
Have a good evening.
We'll see you next time.